Penguin Trek. After the closure of Antarctica, Empire of the Penguins, SeaWorld Orlando was left with a hole around the well-themed penguin exhibit. And in line with recent additions to SeaWorld parks, they decided to add a roller coaster to fill this hole. But how good of an experience is this coaster? Find out in this review. The penguin exhibit at SeaWorld Orlando has a bit of nice theming, both in terms of an Antarctica area around the exhibit itself and at one point a trackless dark ride that accompanied it. Although a neat ride for families and those scared of larger coasters, this dark ride was plagued with downtime and a rather low throughput, which made this one of the longest lines at SeaWorld Orlando. Just the lines to see the penguins without a ride can get quite long, so one can imagine how long the line for this dark ride was, especially on very busy days. And that's in comparison where most coasters at this park are straight walk-ons most of the time. Also, as someone who hails from Texas, I do have to comment that the theming around the penguin exhibit in SeaWorld San Antonio is rather lacking, and I'm jealous that Orlando has such a nice exhibit and area. The coaster addition to this area is Penguin Trek, which is a family coaster from B&M, and the first of these models to be a sit-down coaster. B&M is known for large-scale coasters, and there are many throughout SeaWorld Orlando itself, including Kraken, Mako, Manda, and Pipeline the Surf Coaster. Unlike older B&M trains, Penguin Trek only has 2 across seating, so the capacity is not as high as it could otherwise be. SeaWorld does have 3 trains for this coaster, and they will try to run all 3, as dispatches can be super fast with the simple restraint. During my visit, the coaster was still experiencing minor downtime, as it would break down while trying to dispatch, but would get back and running in a few minutes. The bigger consequence of this is that the queue line would back up during the 10 to 20 minutes delay when the coaster wasn't sending out trains. The theming of the queue line is well done, but not super impressive as it doesn't have any penguins. Just the theme that you're at an Antarctica research base, complete with various things you'd find at a scientific research station. The main room of switchbacks likely can fill up, causing a long wait. Since this coaster appeals to families, everyone will want to ride it. And although there's some theming here, it really isn't like a super nice place to spend like an hour of your life. For now, I would highly recommend rope dropping this coaster, especially if you want to get multiple laps on it. My brother got 3 laps quickly on a Saturday morning, and I was able to do 2 laps with not too many people in front of me on my second go-around. But I was delayed with the coaster breaking down twice during the period I was trying to ride it. I ran to this coaster from Manta's rope drop point, but others arrived just as quickly from the pipeline side of rope drop, so I'm not entirely sure which path would ultimately be the fastest. Further hampering multiple re-rides is that you must wait to be admitted to and from the penguin exhibit, meaning the exit queue of this attraction can take some time, upwards to 10 minutes. But in my experience, you should be able to avoid a long wait if you ride this coaster within that first hour, unless the park is just super crazy packed. Currently, as of early November 2024, this coaster is included on the Platinum one-time quick queue. Normally, new attractions are excluded, and Pipeline is still excluded. But I was able to use my brother's one-time quick queue to ride in the middle of the day. These are only available for use at one's home park, so I don't qualify for my own, with my home SeaWorld park being SeaWorld San Antonio. But they don't check if you share them with guests or other pass holders in your party. This does put you on the stairs, so you still might have a 20-minute wait, but it should be reasonable. Per the season pass holder Facebook group, the park has confirmed that Penguin Trek has intentionally been included, at least for now, though they did say they reserve the right to exclude it from the Platinum Quick Queue at any time. If this coaster is a priority on your visit, With these two options to ride it quickly, it really shouldn't be too hard to experience it, despite likely it having a very long line, and still being excluded from the unlimited quick queue. I do wish this coaster used 4-cross seating though, as then it would just eat people, and likely not build up a line like at all. With fast dispatches, it can still move at a very good pace if it doesn't break down, but with the demand that this coaster will likely see, a 45-minute to an hour wait is going to be fairly standard. The restraints are similar to open restraints you'd see on a family suspended coaster and act as essentially a lap bar. The freeing upper body position makes for an enjoyable riding position. With how the coaster is configured though, it doesn't really give airtime anyways, so I can't tell if these reduce much airtime or not. As for seat placement, I had a slight preference for the front, as not only do you get a nice view, but you're pushed through a few elements more with the train behind you, so you can get a bit more oomph on each element. Penguin Trek starts off with a small dark ride portion. The theming on the walls is well done, and you have a projection of penguins that helps get one really in the mood to go see some real ones after you get off the coaster. After this, there is a flashing light as you drop very slightly down into darkness. On my POVs, this appears really dark, but with the light bleeding in from other areas, you can still see how big and empty this room is. I'm not sure if they will add more theming here or not, but it does feel incomplete. Then you turn onto a launch track where you launch into the heart of this coaster. As a solid family coaster, the elements are designed to not be as thrilling as they could be. You can feel, on almost every hill, that it starts to give you airtime before leveling off to not really do so, then dropping down again, giving a faint reminder of how you could be getting airtime. For the target audience of family and kids, this is a wonderful touch, as you can have strong elements while hopefully not being too scary for those afraid to ride a larger family coaster. As the coaster also has 2 launches instead of a lift hill, this should help with those who are scared, since they won't have to look up at a terrifying big first drop. Even my wife, who is scared of bigger coasters, went ahead and rode Penguin Trek, and she did not hate it, but she was not jumping back in line to ride it again, as it is a bit bigger than the coasters that she otherwise might enjoy. After the first launch, you have a faint pop of airtime at the top of the straight bit of launch track, especially if you sit in the front row as you go into a turn that acts as the crest to this hill. Since you take it slowly, this turn offers really no airtime, but serves as a nice change of direction and offers very mild laterals as you enter the heart of this coaster. This is followed by more snaking back and forth as you crest a large S-hill. This part really makes one think that this layout was intended to be a straddle coaster before it was changed to a B&M Family Coaster. This is followed by a turn into a bunny hill. This gives faint or really those ghost feelings of almost pops of airtime into and out of the elements, but the main middle part of the element is devoid of any good airtime, and you can tell again this is all intentional. Next, you swing into a turnaround that looks great off-ride, but offers rather mild forces on-ride before sharply turning to the right, and then a low-to-the-ground turn to the left. This is followed by a bunny hill that quickly levels off into a 270 degrees downward helix into the second launch. The launch pushes you into an overbank turn that isn't too high or exciting, but works as a nice punch following the launch on this coaster. Then you snake around a few turns before heading into a small bunny hill that again does little. A final turn up into the finale offers not too much in terms of forces, but does offer a great picturesque ending for those entering the Antarctica area. Overall, how good is Penguin Trek? This coaster is enjoyable to thrill seekers with some twists and turns and strong pacing, while still being accessible for younger riders or those scared of big coaster elements and drops. The theming is a great touch, as who is not going to be excited about penguins? Hi penguins, we love you. But as with most SeaWorld coasters, there is very little actual theming along the course itself. If you wove in and around icy rocks and glaciers, the visuals for this coasters could really help take it to that next level. But as is, it is an enjoyable family coaster without any strong, memorable elements. So I don't rank it super highly. But again, this coaster was designed to appeal to low thrill seekers and seems to fit that role very well. I rank Penguin Trek right above Iron Dragon at the State Fair of Texas. This coaster offers enjoyable drops and decent forces throughout its layout, but nothing extra special. And although the forces are better than Penguin Trek, the theming helps carry the whole experience of Penguin Trek. I rank Penguin Trek below Hornet at Wonderland. As the former Mayan mindbender from Six Flags Astroworld, this coaster has a special place in my heart, and I might rank it higher than maybe I should as one of my favorite family coasters out there. But Hornet has some wonderful turns and a great shuffling gimmick that makes it just pure fun, start to finish. Well, at least for me. How much can you enjoy the theming on Penguin Trek? If you were scared to ride this coaster and did, let me know, as I'm really curious which of these elements are scary to riders who are much more sensitive to drops and other forces on a coaster. Oh, and how much do you just love penguins? Let me know, and as always, Kapkun Krap.